Hello, Wankers.
Fuss up, Vankahs.
Greetings, Vankahs. Race 1 in the books. Guenther, you got your prediction 100% right. You said George Russell wins, Kimi second, Charles third, and then I pressed you. I said, will they just dominate or will they have to fight? You said, no, they'll have to fight. And then I said, how many retirements are we getting? You said 25% of the field, 20 to 25% of the field. Guenther, that's exactly what happened.
Guenther Adamus, baby. That's what we call you from now on.
You know,
This is not beating the allegations that the whole thing is rigged, Guenther, that they knew that they know what's going to happen. What do you know that we don't know, Guenther?
I don't know what I know what you don't know, but it's like it proves that you are wrong saying Guenther doesn't know shit, basically, you know? So I know shit,
Good.
you know, so...
Good, you know shit. Guenther, I'd like to think that we got the predictions right. It was a team effort, and we bring the best out of you.
Yeah. We got it right for all the wankers out there, you know?
That's right.
Because they have to subscribe. So if they want
right.
predictions, you know, if they subscribe, they get them, you see?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's right. Yeah, subscribe. We're like a Max Verstappen teammate when he just runs away with the champion. We win the constructors, but we didn't really do much to actually get us there. Max could have just won it on his own. We're Sergio Perez circa 2023. That's what I'm feeling like we're like.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Well, we got so much to discuss. This was a crazy race. Max Verstappen in the wall during qualifying. Oscar Piastri not even participating. Mercedes, the story is Mercedes won the day, but there's so much more to discuss. Ferrari blunders, Aston Martin looked like a mess, and this rookie Arvid Lindblad coming in hot. So we got all that to discuss, but first, cue the music.
No fuck smash my dog. I'm Guenther fucking Steiner and I'm back for more. No fuck smash my dog. I'm Guenther fucking Steiner and it's time for
And we're back. Okay, Guenther, we need your Rockstar and Wanker for the Australian GP. Guenther, who was your Rockstar for Australia?
The Mercedes mechanics, which fixed Kimi's car. But after the crash, I was like, I could not predict that one. You know, even if I'm, you know, Guenther Ramos, he didn't see it coming. You know, he didn't see it coming. I said on TV here on Network 10 TV, I said no, he will not be ready to go out. Obviously, they got a little bit lucky with Max crashing, so they gained another 5 minutes, but they couldn't know that. They worked so hard, and then obviously, if you work hard, you get lucky as well. But unbelievable what they did. Because it's not only was a big crash and a lot of work to do. The guys, it's all new. It's a complete new car, new technologies. Everything is new. And obviously, they have changed the engines and things like this, but never, or not 100 times yet. So, they are for sure the rock stars of this race.
Was that the most miraculous change fix you've ever seen?
In my opinion, yes, because I didn't give it, because it was the front, the rear, everything, you know. So I was like, they are not coming out. And then, obviously, in the beginning of the season, you're short of spare parts. So some of the assemblies are not assembled because you have got them in little pieces still, you know. They must have been prepared also very well, you know. So, no, it's very good, you know, very good.
So, Guenther, what do you think of the theory, conspiracy theory, that Max knows that he can't win this championship, but he hates George Russell so much that he threw himself into the wall on purpose to give the Mercedes guys a little bit more time, because he knows if anyone's going to wipe that smile off of George Russell's face, it's going to be one Kimi Antonelli. What do you think about that?
Whoa. Did you sleep badly last night and came up with this one, you know?
I was on the message boards, Guenther. I was on the message boards. That's what they're saying.
No, I don't believe that. You know,
No. That's all fun and games. Okay, the mechanics from Mercedes were your Rockstar. Guenther, who was your Wanker for Australia?
I think that trophy goes by unanimous vote, in my opinion, to Aston Martin. To come to a race like this as an established team is like, I mean, what they did,
He's shaking his head for all those people listening at home and not on the video. Very disappointed.
Yeah, very disappointed because, I mean, we told the fanfare they came in what they're going to do, and it's not a new team or anything, and coming there like this is just like in F1, it shouldn't happen. I mean, what it did, it took the light, it took the light away from Cadillac because, in my opinion, they didn't shine because they were down 3 laps, you know, and the company like General Motors coming into Formula One. As much as we can say, it's difficult, but I hope they knew that before they entered it, so that it isn't going to be easy. So, but for sure, what Aston Martin came up with there, that deserves a proper wanker trophy.
What is
not
it?
at all
if you
like
had to design the wanker trophy, what would it look like?
Whoa! That I don't know.
I don't know if that's safe for
maybe
YouTube.
We cannot say that on the
yeah,
pod,
that's right.
you know?
That's right. Were you not at all a little bit encouraged by at least like Alonso's pace? You know, at least the start he was able to kind of like get. Was there not a little bit of kind of if they can figure out the.
But they should have figured out that before, Brian. I mean,
of course. I mean, at this point, we could probably just guarantee them the Wanker of the Year award based off of how things are going. But I guess I'm curious if was there any silver lining from Aston Martin in Australia for you?
The silver lining, I would say, when they were out there, knowing how bad they are, their lap time, you know. Obviously, it wasn't good, but it was not. I mean, it was fast. I think, it was faster than the Cadillac, I think, when they got going, yeah?
Right.
So that's the silver lining. I think it's just like the preparation of this. I mean, I cannot understand that they didn't know about all this vibration and all this stuff 2-3 months ago, you know? Or maybe they did and they couldn't do anything about it, but it's one of these things. I mean, the expectations are just there. I mean, they are in Formula One a long time and they know how difficult it is. And, I mean, the silver lining is the lap time. When Fernando put some laps in, they were not, embarrassing.
Also, the bar was so low in testing, and there was all this talk about they won't even will they even show up. That the fact that they did a number of laps and Alonso got the good start, that it was almost like they exceeded the low bar that was set for them. That was a little bit the narrative. I guess my question for you is, in the ensuing weeks since the testing debacle, there's a bit of like, Newey's pointing the finger at Honda. It's the power unit. Honda's pointing the finger at Newey, saying it's the chassis design, and now they're saying it's the vibrations. I mean, what do you chalk it up to? Who do you blame? Because we can't really read between the lines like you can. Like, whose fault is it? I want to know whose fault it is. Who should I'm an Alonso fan. Where I got my pitchfork. Tell me where I need to go.
You know that to tango you always need two, so it's a combination of things. It's like, and I'm not trying. It's a combination because even if you say, it's Honda and Honda says it's the chassis, you work together. You should know each other what you're doing. So it's all part of developing an F1 car. So and I'm not working there, so I don't know. But it's normally fault of everyone involved in it. If you want your fork into someone, get them all.
Them all. They're all out. But only one. But you know what? Only one of those people has now a staked interest in Aston Martin. That is one Adrian Newey. Do you think that Lawrence Stroll is regretting giving him a part ownership, Guenther?
I don't know, but for sure, Lawrence is not proud of the performance of the team, because fair play to Lawrence. I mean, as much as sometimes he's critiqued of who he is and what he does, he is not shy to put his hand where his mouth is, and invest in the team. Or sometimes maybe a little bit too active with people, but in the end, he just asked the people, what do you need to win? Okay, we need this. They got this and still don't win. So, I mean, for him, can you imagine how unhappy he is? If we are unhappy for them, do you know how he feels,
I bet he's not feeling great, but it is nice to see billionaires be unhappy every now and again. That's part of the beauty of Formula One, is that you get to see sad billionaires. How lovely can that be? Okay, that was your Rockstar and Wanker. Now, listen, we're going to talk about George. We're going to talk about Ferrari. That's kind of, our two front runners. But I'm curious what your thoughts are. There's a ton of ink being spilled about these regs, about the engines. This is an entirely new way of racing. What were your opinions on what we saw with regards to this new era of Formula One?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm still trying to get my head around, and it's nice, but the overtaking is good. The first laps were good. The overtaking, coming and going, but what you didn't see, or what I didn't see, and I think nobody saw, it's the fight. It's more a strategic overtaking.
Right.
It's not like that you go into a turn and the guy which takes the bigger risk or takes a risk gets by. You don't see the fight. You don't see the fight in a corner. You see it, and I think they realize pretty quick. It's all about, okay, you can pass me, I then can harvest and pass you again. So and I don't know, because it's the first race and you have to wait to see how they develop the cars. Because normally what now will happen is everybody will analyze the other teams how they do it. So you are ready when you fight with them to do it in a way that you can actually stay ahead. Because I think here in Melbourne, it was more nobody knew how the other ones are doing it. But now, obviously, you do a lot of analysis how they did it, and you get a feeling, or you get actually how much they can harvest, when they need to harvest, how long it takes to harvest, and you make a strategy of overtaking. That's my opinion, but I don't know how that will work out. I mean, the first 10 laps, the overtaking was pretty cool, when they how it does,
right.
Right. So it's kind of like in 2022, there was all these overtakes, and everyone said, "Oh, these new regs are awesome." And then they found, because they got rid of all the dirty air, but then they did all these updates, and the dirty air came back, and we were kind of got closer to where we were originally with the dirty air.
It's similar, but it was with dirty air. I think the dirty air doesn't make a difference. I mean, obviously, you still have dirty air behind an F1 car, but that I think will not now be the reason why you cannot overtake. It will be more.
I know. The dirty air is a metaphor for what the new problem is going to be.
Yeah.
For the harvesting changes, and then they're going to be able to. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, but I think we need at least 5 or 6 races until we are at the point that the teams really know what the other ones are doing, and then we will see where it stands.
Okay.
There's a lot of talk about that if it's people aren't happy, that if in the beginning when everyone's figuring it out, the racing might be more exciting than when they start to figure it out, and then it gets even more boring. How likely do you think, let's say 5 or 6 races from now, the racing is not good, everyone's in agreement? What change is it likely that the FIA and F1 make some significant changes to these regs?
I don't think they. No. I think the only changes they will make to you cannot. I mean, you cannot, because in the end, everybody, you will be always back to the same. If you change how you can use energy and how you can recoup energy, everybody's in the same boat. And then you just start from new again, and then everybody comes to the same thing. I don't think they change the regs. Are you going more like, do they change it to
I don't think they go to a V12, but they'll make adjustments. You think? Do you think they'll make adjustments?
Make adjustments if needed.
Okay.
Yeah, if needed, they will make adjustments. How you can map these engines, but there will be no big move. For example, what you could do with these engines, because the engine is still a 1.6 liter, but it has less power now, the combustion engine, because they have got less fuel. I think they went from 100 kilos to 70 kilo, and if you don't feed the animal, it doesn't kick. So
right.
And I think to give the combustion engine more power is difficult, because you have to design a new chassis to put the fuel tank in. You cannot just go from 70 to 100 kilo fuel tank, or you could introduce refuel in theory. That would be cool. You know,
That
so we're
could be,
coming
that
up
could
with
be,
some
that
ideas
could be
here, yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
Bring
Yeah,
back
talk about
refueling.
it.
That could be.
Yeah, Guenther, I've been reading that a lot of the problems of this reg set of these engines is that they took away the MGUH that we used to have, and it was to land Audi. That was what they wanted Audi in the series. Now Audi's in, finishing honestly better than we thought they would, but I don't personally care that Audi is in. Can you explain? Like, I don't give a fuck. You're Austrian. You speak German. You were in the car industry. Can you tell me why? Tell me why I'm supposed to give a fuck that Audi is in, but now these cars are clipping.
I mean, first I have to put one thing right. I'm not Austrian.
Well, you're
Italian.
Northern Italian. You're northern.
Yeah,
you're on the.
told you, exactly. So if you haven't got that one in the 3 years we do this podcast, I switch off now. You know. So
You're Italian. In certain points of history, you might have been Austrian, though.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like,
That's
yeah.
right.
A lot of us were, in a certain part of history, in Europe,
Yeah.
So
Yeah. The lines are always moving with you guys. Anyway, hard to keep up. Anyway,
so what was the
Tell me-
question?
yeah. Why? Tell me why we should give a fuck that Audi is in the sport. What? Because this was all this MGUH. The reason we have super clipping, the reason we got rid of the MGUH is because to get Audi in the sport. They're in. I don't give a shit. Tell me why we did all this.
That's a question for I don't know, Stefano. Big brands, yeah. But I think at the time maybe it was important to have another manufacturer in. You know, we are talking 4 years back at least, if not 5. And, you know, I think FOM, because at the time there was also talk Porsche coming in, which is Volkswagen Group as well as Audi.
Yeah.
So maybe having 2 big brands in was important, and the other people had to compromise. So that I think was the reason. Obviously, if you look now with hindsight, it's like, why the hell did we do it?
I guess what Matt's getting to is kind of there's a fundamental perhaps attention in the Formula One world, which is that the Formula One world for a long time was really geared towards large brands. It was geared towards manufacturers. It was geared towards the C-suite. And then with the popularity of F1 through the pandemic, through Drive to Survive, through the reason that we're all here, is now all of a sudden the fans are a real fighting force here. And so it feels like there's this move towards going to a manufacturer, catering the rules so we could get an Audi in, which I understand why Stefano and why big business, why that matters to them. But what we're potentially seeing, because I wasn't hating the racing that we were seeing in Australia, but if it does get worse and this new reg set is a dud, you are potentially losing this whole new groundswell of these fans. And so that I guess that fundamental tension in Formula One seems to be a kind of interesting thing to me. Can you kind of speak a little bit to how you have seen that change over the years, like Formula One when you first were involved versus where it is now? Who holds the power?
I mean, the power is held by FOM, and the power is held there. And, you know, Formula One was never as stable as it is now. And I think at the time when it was growing so much, going back when we called it, when the Audi entrance was discussed, it was like, oh, it would be good to make it more stable to get Audi in. Obviously, Audi didn't want to do an MGUH because it was very complex and the other people had an advantage over it. And it was decided that they needed some help to get into it, and everybody was just wanting them in there, you know, because there was... But now, as you say, in theory now you don't need it because the sport is economical for the teams in a very good place. You wouldn't need them. You know, these decisions, I think if F1 would have known what is coming, maybe they wouldn't have changed, you know. But if and would, there's a lot of if and woulds, and we cannot go back on it, you know. And now, obviously, everybody tries to find the reason why it was done, as we always do in life, and say, why the hell did we end up where we ended up? Because it was different times. You know, it's the same. Why was this rule made 50% electric, only 50% combustion? Because at that time, the zeitgeist was like more electric. While now again, I think we are shifting away a little bit again from the electric cars. I wouldn't say shifting away, but it is not growing as fast as we thought 5-6 years ago when these rules were invented. Everybody thought 5-6 years ago, and there were laws made that you cannot sell combustion engine cars anymore in 2030, which is around the corner. So I think, but that has changed a little bit. But again, could have people known that before? Not, if you guys would have known, would you have said it? Yes, but then nobody would have listened to it, So.
Right. Now,
Sorry.
speaking of like getting closer, dialing in on the race itself, there was a lot of ink being spilled about whether the safety of it with the starts. Now we had a very close call with Liam Lawson and Colapinto. Like Stella was complaining about it. Everyone's saying, "Oh, you're just saying that because those McLarens look like shit off the line." But then we had a really clear, almost worst case scenario. I mean, do you think they're going to look at? But then on the flip side, the start was incredible, right? So, what do you think? Do you think F1 or the FIA is going to do anything? Do you think they're going to adjust it? Do you think they're going to be looking at that seriously? Because they almost had a real catastrophe on their hands.
Do you think Colapinto woke up at that start?
Right. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
My God.
Wow. That was what I think about the start. The FIA will be looking into it. Why was it? Maybe because Lawson could have made a mistake. It isn't a given that the car bogged down or anything. If he did a mistake on his controls, because the lights, they were very quick to go off.
Yeah, those lights were crazy.
Yeah, exactly. So I think to do the first start like this, and I don't know if that is manual or is it just like by, what you call it, by automatic, that it decides how long they stay on, that it is, that nobody actually know how long they stay on, because otherwise the race director, if he knows, he could grass a driver off and he will have an advantage. So I think it is like a lottery or something, I guess.
Right.
I'm not sure. I need to ask that one. It's actually a good question, how that works. But the FIA will look at it. Did Liam make a mistake, getting the car going? Or was it actually the car, was it a technical problem, that they cannot do it? And you got all the data. It's easy to find out for the FIA. And I think for sure, I say for sure, next time, I think the red lights will stay on a little bit longer, because I think that could have been part of it, because nobody expected that one.
Right.
My opinion. And especially when you say, we need to delay the start, so you're thinking like, they let us a little bit more time. They leave you more time,
Right.
but then it's like,
Yeah.
and I don't know. They will find out from the data from Liam's car.
I see. Well, controversy aside, regs aside, we still had a race on our hands, and it was a relatively exciting race. What are your takeaways from Mercedes? Is this championship just a foregone conclusion? George Russell, it's in his hands, or do you think that Ferrari can really make a stand and get in their way, because they look like maybe they're the only team that has the capacity to do that at the moment?
I think in the moment, as you said, Mercedes looks strong, but I think Ferrari has got the chance to do it, because they were not far off. In qualifying, they were far off, honestly. It was big difference. But in the race, we have to be careful what we say here, because Mercedes was playing, was sandbagging the whole way along. In the race, did they, play games there as well?
I wanted to ask you this because, so the situation there, if you could correct me if I'm wrong, is that if Mercedes proves to be too dominant, then they might trigger a clause basically that gives the other manufacturers an ability to improve their engines. Right? That's the situation there.
Yeah. That is how.
So
the rules are,
so the question then becomes, yes, clearly we know that Mercedes were sandbagging a bit during testing, trying to avoid this compression ratio test, which is now not even coming until June. But was Mercedes sandbagging again during the race in Australia, keeping that gap within that 5-6 second 10-second thing, so they didn't speed away to a
Exactly,
35-second wind, which would then trigger a clause, which would give the other teams an advantage, or at least a leg up in terms of getting their engines to the same level that Mercedes is at. Do you think that that's what's going on over there? Potentially. Allegedly.
I mean, it could be that in the end, but then again, there is 3 more cars out there with a Mercedes engine, and they were good, but they were not as good.
Well, now, but then they're talking now, and McLaren and Williams is saying, "Hey, this Mercedes engine, that's not the engine that we have. What you guys are doing over there, we're not able to do that over here." Question is, did Mercedes give them an engine without the full manual about how to use it?
The engine needs to be the same by regulation, and the FIA can see all the data. They've got torque sensors in the drive shafts, so they can exactly see how much power is there, and it needs to be the same. You cannot give a customer an engine which is worse than yours. The FIA can see all that, the power curves. There is 3 torque sensors in there, on one of the clutch shaft and on each of the drive shafts. So they know exactly how much torque is in there. So they can find that one out, and by the rules, they have to have the same spec engine. So if they cannot use the engine because they don't know how to utilize it best, the recovery and the harvesting and all that stuff, they will find out, the other teams. So if that is the reason, so they should go quicker without anything being done in the next races.
So is that kind of permitted a little bit? Is that how Mercedes retains its advantage? Like, I can give you the same engine, but I'm not going to give you the manual on how to use it. Like, you kind of have to figure it out yourself.
I mean, Mercedes will help, but also you cannot exchange data between teams, so they are not allowed to give them certain instructions. What to do, because you cannot have data of other people, so of other teams, so they have to figure it themselves out. And obviously, this is an advantage for Mercedes because Mercedes, being a manufacturer, had the engine for sure 2 or 4 weeks longer, on the dynos, on the 4-wheel dynos or 2-wheel dynos, whatever it is, and they can get more experience in it because it's your engine. First, you serve yourself before you give it to customer. That's normal. So,
right.
But we should see in the next races the other teams. They're no dummies. They will catch up quick if that is the case.
Assuming McLaren is continuing to be a great chassis manufacturer, assuming they're still top notch, how long do you think it's going to take them to catch Mercedes? Given that Mercedes has this edge.
If they catch them this year.
Yeah.
Because Mercedes is not going to stand still.
Stand still, right.
They're going to develop. Yeah. So,
right.
I mean, they are great, but they had 2 years of greatness, and obviously now a new rule book is, and they have to get great again, because what you did last year, it doesn't work now anymore. They understood the regulations from last year very well, the ground effect ones, but I don't know. They need to learn about this one, and do they get them to have an understanding like that on the last rules? I don't know.
So when you saw that Leclerc couldn't catch George on newer tires, but it was like staying about static, that kind of led you to believe, oh, he's managing. He's just keeping the delta the same. That was your takeaway?
Yeah, but for sure he was monitoring. He didn't need to do anything to take any risk as long as the distance stays the same. Why would you overuse anything?
Right.
Why would you overuse your systems? I mean, it's like he gets the proper information. This is my delta to him. It stays stable. The guy cannot catch me. Why would I try to? I mean, he lapped anyway. Everybody except 6 cars.
Should we move on?
Let's shift gears to Ferrari, because it was quite a race for them. Obviously, they had the killer start. Charles Leclerc going from 4th place to 1st place. Then, obviously, the first 20 laps going back and forth with George. And then multiple virtual safety cars. There's an option. Do you come in now? They choose the first time, definitely. The second time, it was a little bit different because Bottas was in the lane. It was a little the pit lane closed at one point. It was a bit of a harder decision then, but lo and behold, they don't come in during potentially cheap pit stops. They stick to their strategy, and that strategy wound up with them not winning the race and not getting multiple cars on the podium, which people believed was possible. How bad of a fuck up was this from Ferrari? Or was this just always going to be the result because Mercedes is that much better?
I don't think it was a fuck up. I think they didn't think that they can make it to the end if they come in the first and when the first versus safety car was out. I think they were like, if we change now, we need to do a two-stopper. They didn't want to take the risk because I think there was a risk involved to do that, and I think they didn't want to take it. The second time around, as you say, I think they got unlucky. They closed the pit lane when they could have come in, and then they lost that opportunity.
So, no vibes there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and Mercedes stopped at that point, and then they went on and they did a one-stop.
But we said before, Mercedes, if they were managing, they knew that even if they come a second time, they can still win the race because they had enough speed to get going again. You know, they were they knew what they were doing. They said if you need to come in, because that is what I think. When we said it before, they were managing the distance to Ferrari. You know, so I think they had enough in the back. So should they have come in for a second pit stop, they could still get to the front again. They had enough.
So you think Mercedes is playing with house money a little bit? Whereas
we
Ferrari
saw
had
with the whole sandbagging over the testing and on Friday in Melbourne, you know, it's all they have got something in the back and they don't need to let the cat out yet, you know, completely. She can go and see the daylight, but don't let her out.
Were you encouraged by Ferrari's performance, or is it a little bit of, you know, it's sound and fury signifying nothing because ultimately, you know, Mercedes has this ace up their sleeve?
I mean, I'm encouraged because for sure they're the second best car out there in the moment. It's pretty clear, you know. I mean, when you're second best, you don't win. And I mean, Ferrari wants to win. I know that. But it's better to be second than to build on that one than to be fourth and say, yeah, we are just a little bit behind with development. I think they put themselves in a good position, and now we just need to see how they can, what they can get out of it. I mean, the development will be fast and furious here, you know, in the next month, all the teams, until they run out of money in the budget cap. But you know, everybody has got an opportunity now to do something. And I think from all the teams, Ferrari is in the best position. I mean, it's obvious they are second fastest, so I say the obvious, but also as a team, because they have got their own engine, you know, it's their engine. They don't have a customer engine. Said before, that helps. So I think Ferrari is in the best position to challenge Mercedes. But Mercedes, again, will not stand still. So, but in the moment, they are clearly second.
The only way to let the cat out of the bag is potentially if, and we saw this with Mercedes in the Lewis and Nico era, is if Kimi really starts to challenge George and then they're racing each other. Is that the only way to fuck up Toto's evil plan of hiding the pace? I mean, when do you think we'll truly see the pace of this team?
I think we saw the pace of this in qualifying in Melbourne. I think there was we saw it there, and then you just manage it. You know what you need because the Ferrari was 8 tenths slower. Think about that one. You know, I mean, last year it was from first to last. Sometimes it was a second. So and now it's from first to the second team is third in P3. But that is, I think they let it out. So everybody will look at that lap where it came from. You know. Because that's the benchmark, that lap. I don't think the benchmark is the race laps.
And that's where for you know, Mercedes holding that pace, you know, holding that gap feels like maybe they were sandbagging there. Obviously, because if they're 8 tenths quicker going their full speed during qualifying, then if they have clear air, they should be gaining at least 4 or 5 tenths a lap. And then all of a sudden, you don't hold a 10-second lead. You build that up to a 30-plus second lead. That's kind of where that evidence is. You know, you just put 2 and 2 together.
So the speculation that they have a quality advantage, but not necessarily a race trim advantage, you think that that's bullshit?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we have no hope. We have no hope of a Ferrari, of a Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton championship challenge.
We have hope, but is in the moment they are the benchmark. So
You're right.
Ferrari has their work cut out.
How bad do you think they could get dinged come June when they lose this compression ratio advantage? Or is it enough time for them to figure other things out?
There is a lot of time to figure other things out, and I do not know exactly how much that advantage is, this compression thing, measuring it at a little bit of different temperature. But again, we have to look at the other Mercedes-powered cars. They didn't do bad, and I don't think it's a big thing. I don't think it will be a big thing when it comes to it. They gained the time. I think Mercedes just did a good job in general, also on the chassis side.
I guess I'm curious, I understand they're their own manufacturer, they're making their own thing, but where does that gap? I mean, we saw this with the Hamilton era, right? It's come the hybrids, the turbo hybrids, and they're just leagues ahead of everyone else, and they can cruise to championship after championship after championship. What makes it so difficult to catch a team like this? I know that McLaren was able to do it but they didn't catch Mercedes. Mercedes was never there. They were able to just figure stuff out and catch Red Bull, but that was also a much more aero-dependent reg set. It wasn't engine-dominant like we're in now. This is the part of the reason why it's easier to follow is because the downforce levels have gone down. It's not a downforce dependent regulation set. What hope does anyone else fucking have if they just have the best engine and they've had it from the get? It's why are we even fucking watching, Guenther?
3 other teams have got a Mercedes engine, and they are not where you think they should be, So it's not only the engine. The car is very good. The car is very good. They figured this aerorex out as well. I mean, they are so far ahead from a McLaren. I said before that if you are the manufacturer, you got an advantage, but you haven't got a 1 second advantage over it. So they have done a good engine for half of the field is running, or a third of the field is running a Mercedes engine. And they've done a good job on the chassis and the aero side. It's just, for sure, they're on minimum weight. They've got good downforce. And the combination of it, they did everything right again, But they always were the favorite to come out here strongest. God knows why. Because normally that is what is happening.
I'm depressed. You've depressed me.
So did you ask any of these questions to Susie?
It's coming out. It's coming out later. We asked her.
Because she knows more inside of Mercedes than me, because she lives with the guy,
Well, we said there was she ran a Formula E team. How much conversation has happened between these F1 teams and the Formula E counterparts. She said it didn't hurt that Mercedes was helping supply Formula E.
Technology
parts over the years. But also what she said was have some faith in the powers that be to make sure that the racing on track is good. Because here's the thing, at the end of the day, our main concern is that the product on track stays exciting. The product on track is, that we get good on-track battles, that we get exciting finishes, exciting overtakes, and that's the thing that's, is the real threat of these regs. Is that's the thing that we're most concerned about. Do you have faith in the powers that be to make sure that we get good product on track?
Do you trust your government, Guenther?
Yeah.
Do you trust the F1 government?
The F1 government, all right.
Yeah.
You rephrased that one, before we go into political discussions here, trust the but again, it's a competition, and if somebody does a better job than someone else, you cannot punish him for that. It's the same. Yes. Like you're doing the best podcast in F1, which you are. So now says,
we are.
That is not good because I don't like that these guys are doing good. So we don't allow them to speak. Is that right?
No, but
obviously you got there because you're the best, So
I can sign language. I can do sign.
But Guenther, that's But let's continue that metaphor. If I have the most successful podcast and then I buy every other podcast, or I make it so other podcasts can't broadcast, and I just put my feed on, and that's going to be shitty, right? There's going to be no competition. That's why there are monopoly laws, right? I mean, there are things that keep things competitive. There are rules that keep things
exactly.
competitive and interesting.
And one of the rules is if somebody does a better job, you cannot punish him for it, because then we have got balance of performance. And you know my opinion about balance of performance.
Right.
I mean,
right.
I'd rather go and do something else. You know.
Okay, I guess there's talk about the spirit of Formula One, right? It's going back a little bit to like the regs and what it takes, what it means to pass now that it's more of a strategic play with the energy deployment and all that kind of jazz. There's a little bit there's a lot of talk about that this is not what Formula One is about. The spirit of racing, that the driver with the biggest, with the biggest set of balls goes into the last of the late breakers. I did it. I got there first. I overtook you through grip and through determination and bravery. Do these new regs go against that, in your opinion? I mean, you've been around. You've been been doing this your entire life. Does something about this ring hollow to you? These new regs?
No, because in the end, everybody should have the same. Not everybody. The best engineers will make the best cars again. That's a competition to start off with. To give the driver the opportunity to do what you just explained. So I don't go through that one again. You need to have a good car, and that is the team which is doing it. We don't have to think only on the driver. It was always a team sport. So for me, it's like I think we get back to that once everything settles. But I don't know. Will it be different? Maybe yes. But again, times are changing. It's one of these things. We cannot get always back to the past, how it was done in the past. If this is the new way of fighting on the racetrack, as long as it's interesting to watch, I'm pretty happy about it.
Guenther, you're young at heart.
Those first 20 laps were interesting. I liked those first 20 laps. Yeah. I was enjoying watching them, even trade positions. I didn't necessarily need it to be the bravest going into the corner. Just the kind of, I don't know what's going to happen next element of those first 20 laps was fascinating. So I'm interested in all of that. But the thing is, the front people, the front men are the drivers. So are we going to start getting press conferences with the engineers? Are we going to do, daily briefings with the engineers to talk about the development race? Because that's what that's what you're discussing here, is that like we're heading into a development race, and it's maybe a little bit less driver dependent. Well, guess what? I want to see, I want to come out of the back with your goggles and your pipettes. Let's get the nerds out front and put them on the stand, and let's get a microphone in their face and hear what you're doing to fix the car.
Yeah, I want to hear the battery deployment guys are talking shit to each other. Then, if that's what it's about, I want to meet the Mercedes battery guy, because apparently he's the MVP.
Talking about turn 3, where he got his energy from.
Exactly.
That's right.
That is what you want to hear. And then the Ferrari battery guy will say, he will tell you he cannot do that because he needs energy in turn 4.
Well, here's the thing, because I think when you're watching the broadcast...
Don't panic. I mean, they will get getting close to each other, and there will be fighting. Obviously, the first race, and I said in the beginning of this part, I don't know what is next, We don't know. We have to wait. But I think we shouldn't be sitting here painting a dark picture of the future.
Right, but I think you hit on something that's important. And I think I'm sure your broadcast was brilliant. For German TV, you did the broadcast?
No, Australian, but I don't do commentary. But yeah, sure it was brilliant. Because,
that's a fuck up. That's a fuck up on Australia's TV. You should be doing color commentary. I mean, anyway, but I think that's also part of the problem, is when you're watching on TV, you're not really understanding what's happening with the deployment. They're not really explaining to you where they're deploying, where they're not deploying. It's still a little unclear how teams are managing their batteries differently. So that picture is actually not being explained in a clear and cohesive way yet. Maybe they will do it eventually, but that's the other part. Also, Jolyon Palmer never drove in that era. Martin Brundle didn't drive in that era. DC didn't drive in that. The guys that are commentating, they don't actually know. So
Neither do the teams in the moment. They don't know what
Right.
they're doing in the moment, so they need to find
Right.
out. So how can
Yeah,
a commentator
exactly.
know what they're doing if the teams don't
Exactly.
really know what they're doing? So that's why I said, give it a little bit of time. Just stop to be negative.
Guenther, you're
Guenther,
the
you're
one
a fucking
painting the
ray of
negative-
sunshine.
You're the one saying that that this is, we're just responding to your everything you're saying to us is depressing us, Guenther.
Yeah. But you take my doubts into negativity. I didn't want to be negative. I just wanted to be.
We're being negative. But you're being, well, I don't know. We're in a black box. We're just walking around in the
exactly,
dark. And
but
we're saying the dark is scary. It's scary, but you embrace the darkness.
Yeah, I mean, but I predicted the race result, and that was right, So if I would know what is coming, I would predict it because I have got the crystal ball here,
Yes,
so,
that's right.
But even the crystal ball doesn't tell me where it is going, so give it a little bit of time, All
right, well, let's get some more kind of predictions from you. Let's head to our favorite segment, Gas or Break.
Arvid is the future of Red Bull.
Break. What? How is the saying? One swallow doesn't make a summer. He had a very good race. Hats off to him. 18-year-old kid, very good. But I think we shouldn't put already too much pressure onto him because otherwise he fails. So let him do his job. And that's why I say let him. Because you go into your first race, I said actually, I don't think he realized where he is. And he had no pressure at all. Perhaps all these pressures. I don't think he realized that he had pressure. He was in Formula One. And now, obviously, everybody coming, you're the next Max Verstappen, you're this, you're that. With that comes a lot of pressure. And hopefully he doesn't overthink it. So leave the kid alone.
Wow. I was going to scream gas, but now, how can I? How can I? I got to go.
Leave the kid alone.
Arvid who? Arvid who? Moving on.
Yeah.
I'm going gas, 100%.
If he fails, it's your fault.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. He's still got a year, but the future of Red Bull, that means it's not happening right away. This isn't a Kimi Antonelli situation. He's in the perfect place. He's right where he should be on the junior team. He's got time to develop. He's got time to make it work. And Max Verstappen, I mean, if he hates these regs, who knows how long he's sticking around. But, for Red Bull, who was looking like they were just lost without anyone other than the name Maximilian Verstappen, for to have Arvid Lidbad come in hot like this, have a bunch of poise afterwards, and on top of that, him and Hadjar looking strong as well. Seems like they've at least got some reserves ready to take on the mantle if Max Verstappen chooses to leave the sport.
I am also going gas now because the person who, if he continues like this, the person who's feeling pressure is not him. It's because, Hadjar's young. Max isn't hopefully going anywhere. The person who's feeling the pressure is Liam Lawson. That's who's feeling the pressure at this point, at this current juncture.
Leave him alone.
Next prompt.
Cadillac should hire Guenther Steiner to get them closer to the rest of the pack.
Break.
Guenther, they need you.
Break. They don't.
Why not? Why not? I don't care if they want you. Maybe that's part of their fucking problem. Go tell us why.
Well, I don't know why they don't want me, but anyway, no. I've got, I've got enough to do. I'm so busy. I couldn't do it. Then I have to stop to do everything else what I enjoy to do. Why would I do that? To run a team which you need to build up for the next 3 years. I've been there.
Okay.
I've done
Okay.
it. I don't need to prove anything.
Okay. I'm going full gas, provided a carve out for the podcast. Full gas. Okay, so they're an American. They're the first. They call themselves the first American team. Okay, bullshit. That was Haas. You've already put an American team on the grid. Ferrari customer. Okay, so you know how to deal with the Ferrari customer team. You came on the grid in 2015, was it? 2016?
16.
And you finished what, 4th and 5th at your debut?
6th, I think we finished. 6th, I think.
Six.
Yeah, 6th.
Cadillac, they give their left nut to finish 6th.
They were 6 laps down.
They were 6 laps down. Guenther, gas. They need you. They fucking put out a Super Bowl commercial and they were fucking nowhere. Who pays for a Super Bowl commercial to finish 6 laps, million laps down? And that was the one who finished. The other guy didn't even finish. The finish didn't finish.
You know what we do now? We phone up GM and ask for sponsorship for the podcast. I think with your commentary here, we will. I mean, we made
Guenther,
it.
we sent those emails. They went unresponded, and this is the consequence.
This is the payback.
We reached that.
You know?
This is the payback.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
Exactly. Ford, if you listen, you should sponsor this because
That's
obviously
right.
they did a good job with that engine. You know, fair
Yes.
play
That's
to
right.
them. Yeah.
That was a blip on the radar. Hajar's engine crapping out. That was a blip on the radar screen.
It was probably his fault.
His fault. That was driver error. No, I'm going gas as well. They need your help, Guenther. My question to you is, what if you're right now? We drop you into Cadillac, your CEO, your TP. What's the game plan? How do you kind of dig yourself out of this hole? What's the time horizon on when you're expecting your team to get your shit together, make some points? Because like you said in the beginning of the episode, if it wasn't for Aston Martin being such a train wreck, there'd be much more of a spotlight on Cadillac.
I don't know exactly what they've got. You know, I never spoke with anybody closely. I mean, the former team manager from Haas is there. Pete Corolla is their team manager. You know, so they have some good people there, I must say. You know, but I don't know exactly how they. I know that they are split up in some are in Silverstone, some are in Indianapolis, some people are in Mooresville. You know, the GM people. But I think the biggest thing is I think there are too many cooks in the kitchen. You know, too many people trying to do because they're all enthusiastic about it, and not clear lines drawn. You know, they use the Toyota wind tunnel in Cologne. You know, I mean, for me, a company, the first thing I would do, try to build your own wind tunnel. You know, try to make your own wind tunnel, your own manufacturing, and where you do it, it's difficult to do this. I mean, everything is possible to do in the States. It's just like how much time have you got? You know, it's one of these things. It's like if you're in a hurry, don't do it there because you have to build up a complete infrastructure for something like this. You know, fair play. I mean, it's doable because the people can do it, but they need time to learn it because the people which do this in England, they didn't wake up one morning and were F1 specialists. It took them decades. So, I mean, I would just see where they are at and then see from there where they want to go because that I don't know their goal as Cadillac, what they want to achieve, you know. Because some teams want to win and some want to participate.
We don't need participation trophies here.
Yeah, you know, it's too hard work for participating, yeah.
Carlos should have gone to Audi.
Gas.
Tell us why.
I think the short-term decision to go to Williams maybe was right, but mid to long-term, I think Audi is the better place. In the end, it's a big car manufacturer. As Matt pointed out, they got even the regulation changed for them, so they could enter. So there is some a lot to say about that one. And obviously, they did a good job, and nobody knew what they were doing. But to build your own engine, and they started pretty late with the engine, you know, compared with Red Bull Ford. And Mattia just got there 1.5 years ago, and obviously that was not all perfect when he got there. They did a good job, but I think they're taking it serious, what they're doing. You just can see what they're doing. It's, you know, everything is top-notch, you know, from the presentation, you know, and all that stuff. And I was surprised how good they were, you know. Again,
Q3
they are not
on
winning
debut.
far off. What?
Q3 on debut. I mean, that's pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Matt?
I'm going full gas. I mean, James Vowles sold Carlos a bill of goods. He used that silvery tongue on him, and now look at he got one P5, he got a couple of podiums, and all Carlos could see was the Sauber green and the kick, and he got distracted. He couldn't use his imagination. And look at fucking Audi Q3 on debut. Look at fucking Williams, fucking. They're not even finishing. They're like, he didn't even get out. I don't think, did Carlos Sainz even finish the race? Did he finish? He didn't even get out in qualifying.
If he finished, he was pretty far back, yeah.
He didn't get out even out. I don't think he even got out in qualifying. The car's overweight and it's a mess. He didn't go out in qualifying. And Audi got Q3 in debut. I mean, Hulkenberg didn't finish. Bortoletto was looking good, but he would be in that Hulkenberg spot.
He didn't only not finish. He didn't start. He
didn't start.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's only up. I mean, reliability you could fix, right? It's pace that's hard to get, I think. So
and Williams has got the Mercedes engine. We just said we're singing the praises of the Mercedes engine. They've got the same. So obviously no, but that's why I say I'm with you.
Right. So I think Audi's only going to improve from here. The fact that they started, the fact that they're already starting off strong in Q3, the reliability is going to sort itself out. You want to be, the dream is to end up on a manufacturer team, and he could have been on one. I think this is full gas.
Yeah, I'm going full gas as well. I mean, listen, Williams has the quote unquote advantage of having a Mercedes engine, but we know that Mercedes is being shady as shit with the details of that Mercedes engine with its customer teams. And if any of the customer teams are going to figure out how to use it, I'm not putting my money on Williams. Put my money on one McLaren. And so I think that Audi, as you said, manufacturer for all the reasons you guys already named. It's I think that Val's sold him a bill of goods. I think there's a lot of talk over there. It's a little bit of Silicon Valley. It's a little bit of, we're gonna disrupt everything. We're gonna win multiple world champions. I think that that's a very enticing thing to hear. And while it worked out last year, maybe I think the years will show that it was the wrong decision.
Reality has set in again. Yeah.
Next one.
Kimi can win the WDC.
Break.
Fast.
That was nasty, yeah. No, it's just he's so young, and George is in such a good place in the moment. He has got the experience, he's got the speed, and for sure he's the obvious candidate, to win it. Kim is fast, but he still makes mistakes. And for Kimi, he has got plenty of time to win world championships in his future. He has got the talent, but I think this year is George's year.
I'm going gas.
Just because you cannot be in the same opinion as me. You were already too many times today.
I'm going gas. I watched Kimi in that cool down room, and he didn't lie. He was fucking silent. He was not happy with his performance. That guy is not, I'll give it time. I was very, I wouldn't say impressed. I was very alarmed by his silence. George and Charles were chatting, and I think he wants to win now. I think he's aggressive. I think Toto worships at the altar of Kimi, and I think he's going to let him run rampant out there. I think he's going to do the papaya rules thing, right? He's going to let Kimi do whatever the hell he wants. He's going to let him smash up his car, and he's going to put a big arm around him and say, "That's okay, Kimi." And I think Kimi's going to have a shot at this.
I am going slight gas as well. Here's my reasoning. Here's my thought. I think that George right now thinks that this thing is in his lap. This is sitting in his lap. This is going to be the easiest championship that he'll ever have to negotiate. And I think if Kimi puts in a couple of Oscar Piastri to Lando Norris performances, and George all of a sudden thinks, oh, this might not be a cakewalk, I think that we've seen in the past when the pressure's really on and he really feels like when Lewis was staring, was breathing down his neck, he can falter.
Cracks can show.
Cracks can show. So I think
But
that if Kimi starts to get his shit together,
matured since then. He has been through it.
He did a Borat impression after he won. I don't know how much he's matured, Guenther.
Well, and Kimmy's got a new thing too. He's doing this in the opening
Hang
credits.
loose.
He's going, what's
Hang
that?
loose, yeah.
What's that? No, they're
I
both.
think he's into surfing. He was out here in Melbourne surfing. It's a little bit of thing here.
Yeah.
He's a vibey kid. I just leave room. I think that George has matured. I think he'll be able to weather that storm. But if Kimi has a few performances early on and can actually stick around, and I leave room for George cracking. That's what I leave room for. So
We thought Oscar Piastri couldn't
Yes.
crack. If
Right.
I think if you could just get under George's skin a little bit, I think there's room. I think if he can out-qualify him a couple of times, if Toto lets a few decisions go Kimi's way, I think he can go.
Probably right, Guenther, but we're leaving room. We're leaving. If you no longer go for a gap that exists, you are no longer a F1 podcast commentator. Okay,
right.
That does it for Gas or Break. Let's go on to China is coming up. Guenther, you are 100% right so far in your predictions. Don't fuck this up. Guenther, what are your predictions for China?
George, Lewis, Kimi.
Ooh. I like
How
it.
many
What does a
retirements?
sprint, what does a sprint weekend do for these with new regs like this? How do you see that playing into the weekend?
I don't think it will make a lot of difference. I mean, obviously, the teams in the moment would like more a normal weekend because they've got more testing than a race, But I think, because reliability is still not good on the cars, and they didn't have any time between the two races to fix anything. Very little to fix. Not anything is maybe too much, but no big Kremlin you can fix in a week. So in 3 days, basically. So I think we will see quite. I think we will see about the same amount of retirements as we saw in Melbourne.
Guenther, are you feeling pressure now that you're batting 1,000
No.
to keep your
No
streak
pressure.
alive?
Just,
Why? Okay, why Lewis over Charles then?
I think he's always pretty good in China, Lewis. It's something there what he likes.
won
If
the
you think he
sprint
was
there
good
last
with
year.
the car, he didn't like. With the. So I think he will be, and I don't know. I see it.
Just got a
in the
feeling.
crystal ball.
You feel it. There's talk about that Melbourne was one of the more difficult tracks with regards to the clipping, with regards to the slowing down on like a straight. That China should be a little bit more geared towards. We should potentially have better racing in China. Is the thought? Can you kind of speak to that a little bit?
Yeah, that is what everybody says. I mean, the people which know how to manage this electrical energy, they say it's much. It's not. It's easier to harvest energy in China than it was in Melbourne, because Melbourne is pretty fast along of long straights, and there is always the issue. So, but they are the same for everyone there. So I think we didn't see any big problem with that one in Melbourne.
Gotcha. All right, Matt. Predictions.
I said this on the last episode. Lewis, Leclerc, George.
And I said Lewis, Leclerc, Kimi Antonelli.
Fred will love you guys,
Let's make it happen, people. We can, Guenther, we're just trying to manifest. We're trying to manifest an interesting championship, okay? And you have to. What I've learned from manifesting is that you have to embodiment. You don't just ask the universe. You have to embody the energy that you wish to receive. And oh my God, Lewis won, Charles got second, and George had a retirement. This championship is cracked wide open. This is going to be such an interesting and thrilling year. Don't you both think so as well?
Yeah, it's amazing. It's so incredible how wide open this championship's going to be.
yeah, like wide open was Australia, you know. So yeah. You guys, you know. Yeah.
That does it for us. Hopefully, we have a great race to talk about next week. Until next time, goodbye, Vankahs.
Goodbye, Wankers.